We came from Kenya to Tanzania and stopped at Lake Victoria. From there we went to the Serengeti, where we were lucky and saw lions. Via Singida, we went north again on a terrible road where we had almost lost our back door and it had to be welded. We visited the Ngorongoro crater and saw Mount Kilimanjaro. Relaxation on the coast was on the program. We visited Tanga, got acquainted with Veronica and saw many elephants in Ruaha National Park before we quickly went to Malawi. In the morning we set off and drive along the Lake Malawi. We put a few stops to admire this great lake. Lake Malawi stretches almost across the entire country with 575 kilometers in length. It is the third largest lake in Africa and reaches a considerable depth of 700 meters. Here took place an explosion of biodiversity. Here 10% of all freshwater fish in the world are living and 1,000 different species of fish are believed to exist, some still undiscovered. Soon we reached Mzuzu, where we check into a backpacker's guest house. There is no diesel and so we are stuck for a few days. Never mind, anyway we have to organize a tire. After a few days we go further into the national park Hwadza. Over dusty dirt roads we finally reach the gate. We have to smuggle Tara. The trick is always the same and usually works. I park the car farther away from the gate, so that in case Tara is barking, nobody can hear her. Alexandra keeps Tara quiet. When the paperwork is done, they open the gate and I am going through in one go. Has also worked this time. The camp is idyllic and we are alone. Promises to be a good 50th birthday for me. In the morning we are on a game drive. We see antelopes and warthogs. In the park there is a small lake on whose shore we want to go along. In the lake a group of hippos are bathing. We stand near the shore and watch the wildlife. A group of elephants come to the bank. The 1,000 square kilometer large reserve is located 29 kilometers from Rumphi. It is open all year and we enjoy, after East Africa, the moderate entrance fee of $5, which makes a difference to the up to $200 per day in Tanzania. Around the Lake Kasungu dominate wetlands and grasslands. It is said that 350 elephants live here. There are also buffalo in the park, but these here should be very aggressive. The lake is full of hippos and crocodiles. Since 2010 there is again a lodge with restaurants and tented camps. The Kasungu camp is the campsite with half-open grass huts and open spaces where can be camped. Camping costs $5 per person. There are hot showers and toilets. We enjoy the solitude of the park and the rich wildlife and can still remain a day. Although Dara was discovered, the rangers make an exception. We leave this heavenly place back towards Lake Malawi. The road passes through hilly countryside. I see a stand with bananas. I need to buy some. The variety of different sweet bananas is great. At another stall, we still buy mangoes. A relaxing stay at the lake is guaranteed. We drive through Nkata Bay.
Nach 300 Metern bitte wenden links abbiegen.
Under a mango tree we make ourselves comfortable. Hanging laundry in the open air, especially during night, should be avoided, because here you get the mango fly, an insect that lays its eggs under the skin and in wet clothes. Later the maggots hatch from human skin. From the campsite we have a good view over Lake Malawi and its beautiful beaches. Typical are the small silvery fish in Malawi, which are all laid out to dry. Since our back door has again given up, a mechanic comes with an interesting welder. It is a do-it-yourself version, apparently iron cores wrapped with wire. 2 wires come into the socket, 2 wires are the welding bridge. This is something we have never seen before. Seems to work fine, and in no time our door is again welded. Quite a bit further south we camp at an Englishman at the campground. The lodge is on the lake with its beautiful beach. We see many different water birds on the shore, herons, ducks, cormorants, and enjoy the view of the lake. In the morning, we find millions of dead mosquitoes next to our kerosene lamp. We had not noticed at night how many there were. We start again early. Want to go to an unknown reserve, the Tuma Forest Reserve, where there will be bushbucks and elephants. We stop along the way because we see a tornado. As fast it occurs, it dissolves. We buy fruit at the roadside, we need supplies. We are of course an attraction at the street vendors, especially the children are curious. Long distance travelers from another continent come by here not very often. After a few kilometers we are turned off to a gravel road for Tuma Park. Beautiful are the round huts. Over fairly good track and wobbly bridges we come closer to the park. Drives through the gate, Tara smuggled, but the road gets worse and worse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then a sudden stop. The creek would not be the problem, but then the slope of loose stones. Spontaneously we think of Ethiopia, where we turned back in similar situation. We have broken down both front tires and decide to turn, the risk we do not want to have again. Instead, we end up in Senga Bay, right on the lake. Our next destination is Cape Maclear in Lake Malawi National Park, and the journey is interesting. The last few kilometers to the lodge, we drive through a fishing village.
Rechts abbiegen in den Graben. Fahren Sie 1,1 Kilometer zum Ziel auf der linken Seite.
We are beautifully located on the shore next to the lodge with good views of Lake Malawi. And we already attract attention. A monitor lizard is interested in us. I'm worried about Tara, because the lizard is not exactly small and a fast hunter. It eats meat, so I think about locking up Tara, but then we decide that Tara is much too rich a prey. Slowly it moves closer. We are excited what will happen.
Tara problem. Tara Fuß. Fuß. Tara Fuß.
Tara has discovered the lizard and is itself curious. I whistle her back. We do not want to risk a direct confrontation. It sees the dog, but passes at a respectful distance. Too rich prey. For a while we watch life on Lake Malawi. From here we only travel inland. We buy fish at the roadside. The vendors prepare the fish for us. We are heading to Liwonde National Park in the south. The dinner is organized as they fillet the fish for us. The children are curious about what the foreigners do here. Refrigerator filled, we are going to Liwonde, where we check in at the guest house at the Shire River. We have a good view of the river and the fishing boats. In the morning we are traveling in Liwonde National Park, including Tara. The landscape is very dry, although the park runs along the river. Liwonde Park has now largely recovered. The enchanting river landscape was once home to hundreds of elephants and hippos. Population growth and poaching troubled this wilderness. Some species, such as rhino, zebra and buffalo, died out. Animal traps wounded the animals unnecessarily. The result was that the lions and elephants in Liwonde were the most aggressive in the whole of Africa, because they saw man as a worst enemy. Few people visited the park until 1990. The camp was neglected, underpaid rangers, the animals are very shy. International aid began to take action. A 117-kilometer long electric fence was built. The camp has been privatized. Extinct animal species have been reintegrated. In this way, the park received 2 rhinos. At the river we discover a single bull elephant. We must be careful. In Liwonde Park, the chance is very high to see some of the approximately 800 elephants on the river bank. Also waterbuck, warthog and bushbucks like to keep to the shore. Liwonde National Park is 550 square kilometers and was established in 1973. In the north, it is bordered by Lake Malombe and the west by the Shire. The best time is from July to October, although it is often very hot in September. On the way out, an accident happens. I underestimate the resilience of a branch and damage the whole side of the vehicle. That hurts. At least it's only an optical effect. Gradually, the road winds high on the Tuma Plateau. Already at the end of the 19th century, forests were created here. The protected area comprises 47 quadrat kilometers and has a height of 2,078 meters above sea level. The campground is located at 1,500 meters. The climate here is cool, there is often a thick fog. At the campsite I look at the damage more closely. The cut extends from the front to the entire length of the vehicle. Only body damage. Now it looks like an African car. Here no one is fussy with cars. The trout farm campsite is situated in a clearing in the woods. beautiful lush green plants, a rivulet running through the campsite. You might be in Switzerland. But it is bitterly cold here, and we move quickly in the hot lowlands of Malawi. We go to Blantyre to marvel at the church, built around 1890 by Reverend Scott without the knowledge of architecture at all. Angel's Church. It is the landmark Blantyres. On a mountain road we descend into the plains to the National Park Luangwa. It is stiflingly hot and we find a place in the shade at the campground. It was not until the late afternoon when we drive to the nearby lookout in the woods. The outlook is well camouflaged in the bushes and allows a view of a waterhole. Patiently we wait, and we are lucky. A nyala is at the watering hole. They are up to 2 meters high and up to 110 kilograms. They live in small groups, preferably near water, and are easily recognizable by their white stripes on the belly. They are similar to the sitatunga and bushbucks, but the stripes are more clear. We wait a bit, but it's getting late and the waterhole stays unvisited. We drive back to the campsite. The next morning we want to go to another outlook. We stop at the giant baobab tree, incredibly, its scope and size. We are unfortunately too late, and at the second waterhole not much happens anymore, so we leave the park. We are on the way to the Denster pottery. First, the route leads through vast sugarcane fields, through small villages, until it leads up in mountainous areas. Is held. No matter what the circumstances, the Africans know how to party and to be happy. We wave back and forth, have fun, we finally overtake, the truck is too slow. Occasionally we stop because the scenery is great and the clouds, atmosphere and dawn add to the beauty. Unfortunately today it is not operating, so we cannot see the workers, but we can take a look at their products. In pouring rain in the morning we drive to the capital of Malawi, Liwonde, and from there on to the border of Zambia. Malawi has given us much. We are looking forward to Zambia. We have passed the border quite well, but had to wait for the official veterinarian who did not come, so they just checked our yellow fever vaccination. In Chibata, the border town, we go to the campsite. It is not bad, we can rest in the shade and plan our trip to the South Luangwa National Park. Although there are only a little over 100 kilometers, you need an entire day. The condition of the road changes from good to sometimes miserable, but nicely landscaped. To our great surprise, far from any civilization, there are occasionally villages. And the surprise is even greater when we encounter tarmac a few kilometers outside the national park. We accommodate in the Croc Valley Lodge on the banks of the Luangwa River. And be warned immediately. We must give all vegetarian food to the bar because an elephant visits the lodge occasionally and turns cars on their roofs when the elephant smells fruits or vegetables in the car and cannot get it. We leave everything at the bar, but are not scared because we have found a great place with even better views. We sit right on the banks of the river and enjoy the evening beauty of the landscape. In the trees the monkeys are cursing. They are not excited by our arrival. The Luangwa is one of the most pristine rivers in Africa. Steep, barely accessible mountain slopes of the mighty Mushinga escarpment protect the valley. The river meanders and is constantly changing its course. Each year it eats further into the sandy river bank. Several lodges have been over the years washed away by the rushing river. The park is accessible all year round, but many lodges are open only during the dry season from May to October. The fauna is very diverse. Impala, waterbuck, zebra, kudu and many other species of antelope can be seen here. About 400 bird species are represented here. We enjoy the atmosphere here. We like the South Luangwa and we decide to stay a little longer in this area. With a good glass of wine in front of a magnificent natural background, we will finish off the busy day. The next morning we drive to a different section of the Luangwa. We want to continue south along the river, but the bridge is washed away, so we turn and settle on the wildlife campsite. Here the river forms at the opposite bank flat access to the water, which promises good wildlife viewing. But it's only noon, we have to wait for the late afternoon. Hesitantly approaches the water. Here are the Tommy-Crofts giraffe. It is more delicate than their relatives and has a darker, distinct spot pattern which is lost in the bright legs. It is evening and we heat our Tanzanian charcoal barbecue. Today there are delicious grilled steaks. As usually with a glass of wine, we enjoy the evening atmosphere. First we want to get to Lusaka, the capital of Zambia. We cross the Luangwa again, hundreds of kilometers later, and cross it on a fairly new bridge. Lusaka, especially at rush hour, so we push our way through the dense traffic. Outside the city, we remain at the Oreka camp. The plots are well equipped with shelter, barbecue area and power connector on lush green grass. We are astonished as we discover zebras grazing on the campsite. I try to get closer. Let's see how close they let me go. Their flight distance is small. They are not pets, but you realize that they are accustomed to humans. Through hilly terrain, we go to the Lower Zambezi National Park. We do not want to get in, but spend a few days on the banks of the Zambezi. We are perfectly located on the banks of the Kafue River at the campsite Gwabi. It is not the Zambezi, but Kafue is also very nice. A few miles from here it flows into the Zambezi. Under storm clouds we prepare dinner. Hopefully we can make it before the rain. We get to know a couple of Lusaka, which invites us to a spontaneous boat ride. They live in Lusaka, but they come from Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. They have their boat lying here and come here often on the weekend. We go the Kafue downstream, passing the ferry, until we finally turn off into the Zambezi. Tara is on the boat as well. She obviously enjoys the cool breeze. The Zambezi River is a border river and forms the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. It rises in the east of Zambia and is essentially formed by the rivers Kolomo, Matechi and Kwai, which discharge into the Lake Kariba, and from Lake Kariba the river is called Zambezi. It flows through Zambia and Mozambique, where it flows into the Indian Ocean. We pass a group of hippos and pass quite close to the shore to Zimbabwe, where I am amazed that there are no border controls or water police patrolling the frontier. and again we come across a group of hippos. We drive slowly closer, not too close, that could be dangerous. After a few hours we return to the campsite. It was a great boat trip. Dinner is prepared now. We do not sit for 5 minutes. A snake suddenly falls from the tree in front of our feet. It has a lizard in its mouth. Apparently, it fell from a tree while hunting. The head shape does, however, point out that it is venomous. In any case, we were lucky because it has already made prey. It is obviously irritated by our presence, but begins to devour its prey. It looks quite interesting as the lizard continually moves through its body. The next day we go to Lake Kariba. It forms the border with Zimbabwe. From a hill we have a good view. The idea for a lake dates back to 1912. Only in 1955 the project was implemented by an Italian company. The construction was difficult because there can be up to 50 degrees Celsius. In 1958, the Zambezi was eventually dammed. Quickly the water rose, but it took 5 years until the Lake Kariba was built. The realization of the project has cost 86 lives. The construction was carried out against the will of the Tonga tribe. Under state pressure, 57,000 people were forcibly relocated. With a surface area of approximately 5,000 square kilometers, Lake Kariba is one of the largest lakes in Africa. Its coastline is 2,000 kilometers. The lake is 200 kilometers long and 28 kilometers wide at its widest point. It is 120 meters deep, but an average of 20 meters. On its shores developed tourist infrastructure and beautiful hotels. Via Lusaka we head south to Victoria Falls. We had met a Swiss couple days earlier. We would like to visit them at the moorings campsite, where they have settled. We spend a few days here and have fun with them. But we want to continue on to Victoria Falls to Livingston. On a good tar road it is easy to get there in one day. Livingston is a modern city and we stay at the Livingston Safari campsite. Almost every camp has dogs, but mostly Tara gets along fine with the half-wild dogs. She's old and interestingly most dogs have respect for her. The camp is very good. It provides shadow, has electricity and even has free internet access. Another advantage is that it is close to Victoria Falls, where we want to go today. The first site is gigantic. The water masses are not so great because it is dry season, but it allows good vision, as if a strong water vapor is in the air, you cannot see so much. Thunder Smoke, it was called by the locals before the falls were renamed by Livingston in honor of the Queen. They are among the great natural wonders of the world and have been classified by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The Victoria Falls form an edge of 1,688 meters and plunge 108 meters into the depth. This makes them the largest unique down-collapsing mass of water in the world. They are twice as high as Niagara Falls. The Zambezi lays back 1,440 kilometers from its source in the northwestern Zambia to Victoria Falls. Until those falls, it is calm and leisurely. Then it bends and gains speed noticeably. It rushes over rapids against the escarpment. Then it plunges over 100 meters into a narrow gorge. Now the water masses squeeze through steep narrow gorges until it finally empties into Lake Kariba. At the falls there is a monument representing David Livingstone, who is said to be the discoverer. But they were discovered of countless locals who lived here for centuries. Also, he should not have been the first white man who saw the falls. 3 years earlier, a certain Mr. Cooley showed the falls in his map, and 1848 a Portuguese could have already been here. In any case, it is good for Zambia because Livingstone is a well-sounding name and can be marketed. A bridge spans the gorge and marks the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. You can visit both sides of the falls without difficulty, because the border officials are used and there is not much paperwork and let visitors pass over the bridge. We have enjoyed the waterfalls. They are indeed impressive. We drive back to the campsite. There we noticed that Tara has apparently sick fever, and we return to the Swiss couple because they know a good vet. Tara got injections and antibiotics. We stay a few days until she has recovered. However, we are a little pressed for time because the rainy season has begun and this is pouring with rain. In addition, our visa expires and we should continue to Namibia. We wait for the worst rains. Tara is feeling better and so we set off towards the border. It is around 200 kilometers. We will make it in one day. The route is fairly straightforward on a good tarmac. Despite major traffic route, there is little traffic. It hardly exists border traffic between Zambia and Namibia. Malawi and Zambia we have enjoyed. In particular, Lake Malawi is a speciality in southern Africa. Numerous national parks invite visitors. You cannot see fewer animals than in East Africa, and the prices are not high in both countries. We will certainly come again. bridge over the Zambezi River connects the two countries and was added to a ferry which was once the only link between the two countries here. At the end of the bridge there is the border post. We leave Zambia and travel to Namibia.